What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of my team. We're here and we're gearing up for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So we're going through the technicalities that we have to face running a Formula 1 team, sorting out the activities that we'll be running in between races and in before we get on track in Bahrain. So most likely going to do a sponsor event. That usually seems to be the best way to obviously get some acclaim for ourselves, and also we get to pick a sponsor for our car. So going through all of these, there's an absolute ton given our circumstances and how well we performed in the last race, and maybe moving forward, given that may be our best race of the season. We're probably going to go for Novus. Pretty cool looking sponsor, and I'm pretty sure that'll fit pretty nicely onto our car. I mean, in terms of the actual bonuses, they're not great by any means, but also at the same time, you know, then they're not exactly horrific. So how I'm going to do this is obviously put the sponsors on the car as well, completely displaced to any of the other ones, and each time we do that we'll sign an additional sponsor as well, but that will obviously be just for cosmetics and whatnot. But moving into the Grand Prix weekend, obviously we've got practice sessions to get through, which I will not bore you with in terms of getting any of the footage for that stuff. But you can see ourselves there sitting on a total of 12 points already. There's our helmet in the bottom left hand corner if you did miss it in the last video. But P4, I mean, we absolutely smashed that. I mean, obviously had a good run on Bottas. If you haven't checked that out, do go check out the Australian Grand Prix. It was a fantastic race. We did everything right, and the strategy was absolutely perfect, and the safety car definitely helped us out in terms of actually getting things moving in our direction. But nonetheless, we are in a completely different setting. We are here under the floodlights in Bahrain, and I'm pretty sure our car with that new sponsor will look absolutely phenomenal. I can't remember what other sponsor I put on the car. I'll probably update that every time in the video, obviously let you guys know what actually came with the car. But first run in Q1, managed to go P6, just ahead of what was Grosjean, and then coming to the end of the second run, we put it was P10. That first lap, we come across the line, it's going to put us still in P10. Fast forward to everyone else set a lap time, we're P19, which isn't great, but we do manage to bump ourselves up into P11 on our third lap. So getting our money's worth out of these tyres, pretty easy to say. Do manage to make it through in P12, and unfortunately, as you'd expect, our teammate Antoine Hubert, P18, so he is out of qualifying. First run, 6/10 off Sergio Perez, so that means we're going to be quite a little bit way down than we'd like to hope. Come to the end of our second run, we've got a bit of slipstream from Lance Stroll here, may help us gain a little bit of time if our exit wasn't too bad off the corner, but we do put ourselves up into P9, which ultimately might not be good enough, and in fact it isn't. So P11 as it stands, we're going to come across the line for our third lap, and that just puts us P10, so we're on the fringes, and we don't actually have enough in the tank to set another lap really. We're going to come into the box, we're still P10 currently as it stands, and then I believe Norris just knocked us out, so we're going to come across into the pit lane, and we're out unfortunately in Q2. We can't be too disappointed. That is really good, considering where we stand as a team, so that's pretty handy for us. And overall, have to say that is pretty sound stuff from our team. Obviously our teammate a little bit down the order, but as you'd expect from these F2 drivers, there's somewhat of a roof that they hit eventually, so you can't take your Mick Schumacher and make him better than Lewis Hamilton. Unfortunately that sucks, but unfortunately that is just the case of how things go in these kind of series in their infancy. So in a few years maybe that may be possible to do that. Of course, Lewis Hamilton leading the championship with that race win and his extra point. We're going to see what we can do from P11, which is ideally with the best position on the grid to start in theory. So we're going to have a quick little rundown through the grid as it stands, and we're going to see how the rest of the field lines up. So as you'd expect, Mercedes 1-2, Bottas leading Hamilton, which is quite interesting. Not sure how often we'll see that. Ferrari second row, very unrealistic, but again, it's the game. Verstappen out of Albon, pretty sound. Ricciardo ahead of the McLarens, which is crucial, and obviously Lance Stroll not making it into the top 10. He's P14, just behind Pierre Gasly. Danny Kvyat P16, ahead of Antoine Hubert by a few places. And then on the back row of the grid, to anyone's surprise, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. So what's pretty cool is that we've got the jump on the Haas and the Williams cars as it stands. So that's going to be good for us coming the rest of the season. So we're going to load in and we're going to have a look at the setup. It's going to be a one-stop strategy, as you would expect around here. Trying to outsmart the AI if any of them do go on to another set of soft compound tyres. But we are ready for the grid. The grid's all warmed up, all lined up. We're ready for the lights to go out in Bahrain. And we are underway. Norris got an almighty start. Jesus Christ almighty. He's already gone. He's already passed his teammate before he gets into the braking zone of turn 1. So that was a mega start from him. We've got Ocon with another dive bomb. Ocon's very ballsy on the brakes. Pretty easy to say that. We make up one position off of our starting grid. And yeah, Ocon just absolutely flew. Norris, he also got off to a mega start. He maybe didn't have the best time into turn 1. We're going to maybe look down the inside of Ocon. His science is up into, I believe, P5. So science has had not a great start off the line, but he's had a mega turn 1, turn 2. And he's ahead of both Red Bulls by the looks of it as well. So mega start from Carlos Sainz. Norris just ahead of us as we close out of lap 2, about to start lap 3. In a bit of a weird place. We're between Stroll and between Norris. Not within DRS of Lando, but we have got Stroll in our DRS window, so that's going to be something we need to look at as the following lap he's got an almighty run on us. We move to the inside quite late, but quite fair at the same time. We hold the inside line on Lance Stroll. It looks like Ricciardo might try and get involved on this little battle we have between ourselves here now, but definitely interesting how things go. At this point everyone's pitted, so we're leading the race essentially. We've got Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Kvyat behind us. Stroll is well within our slipstream. He's followed us to the pit wall. It looks like Ocon's kind of ways away at this point in time, but Stroll's going to get almost past us into the braking zone. We go really deep, which may give Ocon an opportunity here to fight with Lance Stroll, but we maintain the position in P1, so we're actually leading this race, as opposed to Australia where we missed out by 2 car lengths, give or take, which was... it sucked, but nonetheless, yeah, we are leading the race. You can see Ocon is now on the back of Stroll. Stroll obviously is the car behind us, so Leclerc is effectively net P1 here. He's in P4 on super soft tyres, so he will need to pit again. So effectively we are racing Leclerc for position as it stands. So Gasly P5, Ocon and Stroll tucked up behind us. You can see our tyre wear isn't looking great. Trying to go as long as possible on these tyres, that way we can get the harder compounds to the end. And make as much of that as possible. But on the end of lap 13, we are going to bring it into the pit lane, which is going to relinquish the lead to Charles Leclerc. Bottas goes through, Hamilton goes through, and Vettel as well. So all those boys are going straight through, and everyone who was behind us at that point in time obviously pitting. You can see Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc, Vettel as well, all on super soft, so they're definitely going to have to pit again. The likes of Albon and Verstappen, who are mediums, might try to go to the end. So we're going to have to see how that plans out for us as well as them. So the top 4 cars, at least, they're the ones that are definitely going to have to stop again. So we may even find an opportunity where we might be even racing the Mercedes, or maybe even the Ferraris, who knows. But we're going to come out just behind Nicholas Latifi of all people. So that's certainly an interesting aspect that I probably didn't expect to see myself in any sense of the word. Obviously, he peels off into the bits, and there we go. Like I said a few minutes ago, Charles Leclerc, we may see ourselves battling with him. He comes out on the hard compounds, in fact. So we're going to sweep around the outside. Probably would have been better off on the soft, Charlie, but nonetheless, we do get the job done. He's right up our rear wing. We do have DRS, luckily. Give a little bit of a shake just to kind of put him off into the braking zone. So we hold that position for now, but I can't see ourselves holding that for very long, and subsequently he is within our DRS and slipstream, and we're just going to let that Ferrari pass. We know he's a lot faster in a straight line, which means we will have Bottas and Hamilton coming through relatively soon, but Leclerc's got an almighty gap, as you can see. They're not even 2 cars behind us, but Hamilton has closed up about a lap and a half later. Hamilton is in the exact same position Charles Leclerc was, so he's going to be in our tracks trying to get past and move up a little bit. So he's actually closed the gap to Leclerc a little bit, but he's going to give us an almighty barge out the way. Very rude from the current world champion Lewis Hamilton. That's not very nice. If you'd asked me, I would have moved over. We'll look at a replay, and you can see he's so far back, and he just chucks up the inside, barges us out the way. I'm not sure if he got any damage from that, but even if he did, that's slightly outrageous there from Lewis Hamilton. He's got no right being there. That was my apex, and he just pushes us wide. But we will get DRS on Lewis Hamilton. We might even close up to him into the braking zone, kind of, a bit of karma for pushing us wide. So we're going to go down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, which is going to make his race even worse. We do snatch a break a little bit on the rear, so we have to let him pass as we go up to the hill. We will get DRS once again, so if we make his life a little bit difficult, we'll promote Charles Leclerc to escape the clutches of Lewis Hamilton and potentially get this race win. So we get down the inside of Lewis. There is a yellow flag currently out in the sector. back to green flag racing. That usually means someone is retiring, and it's relatively where we are. So there's a slow pink dot on the map, so it looks like a racing point. It's going to be Lance Stroll. So Lance Stroll is out the session. Safety car is coming out, which effectively, assuming we don't get caught up in the pits, I mean the Red Bull's quite a way ahead. That will put us essentially P2. Looking at Verstappen, Verstappen's got us in the pit lane, so it will P3 with Hamilton behind us. And speaking of the current world champion, he's going quite slow. Ocon's gone past him. Bottas looks like he's going to go past him. It looks like Hamilton's got a problem with his car, so Hamilton's retired on the restart. So we've got a Renault between us and Valtteri Bottas. We're right up the back of Verstappen. The safety car's in, we're underway, and we've got such a great run off of the safety car restart on Verstappen. We might fancy a move past Max Verstappen into turn 1. We've been so switched on with these restart that we've managed to make a move on Bottas off a restart, and now Max Verstappen as well. So we're up into officially a P2 position, and obviously with Verstappen just behind us and whatnot, it's going to be difficult to defend as he is now in our slipstream. He's got the DRS, and we're going to fight this for all we're worth. As Bottas now made up into P4. Verstappen does try to go the long way around. He gets an incredible amount of traction off that corner. We're going to go side by side through this long right-hander. We're going to squeeze him out. He backs off as he's got nowhere else to go on the track. So we hold on to the P2 at the moment, which is absolutely phenomenal. But the following lap, you can see Verstappen's being passed by Bottas, Vettel and Ocon as they go side by side in twos into turn 1. And yeah, Vettel and Bottas obviously looking very racy here, as we've only got a handful of laps to go. Bottas is going to go down our inside. We may have left off the brakes a little bit easy, just to make sure we get DRS so we can maintain this position. But Bottas, he looks like he's just the right amount of distance. Vettel does look like he's going to maybe fancy a move on our inside. We're going to go down the inside of Valtteri Bottas into turn 1. We do go a little bit deep. We managed to hold off the position, and those two look like they got tangled up there, which is going to let us get away a little bit as we climb up the hill. We have DRS once again, and Vettel is ahead of Bottas. So we're going to have a little look at the replay of what happened with these two boys. So they both go on the inside. Vettel climbs the curb, and they both got damage on the right hand side of their front wing, so they're going to struggle to even catch us. Obviously we're doing pretty well. So starting the final lap, you can see Vettel and Bottas haven't managed to actually hold on to us at all because of their damage they got while crashing into each other by Vettel climbing the turn 1 curb. We've managed to hold this position. I mean, Charles Leclerc's gone. I mean, if you look at the gap between ourselves and Leclerc, that kind of shows the real performance pace and how much pace they've lost themselves just by giving themselves that damage by colliding. So we're going to stay on board with the rest of this lap as we make our way towards the end of Sector 1. We've only got 2 sectors to go to claim a podium. And yeah, this all comes down to the strategy once again. You know, obviously other guys having to pit twice, and then ourselves being lucky with the safety car once again. I mean, the safety car's coming clutch, so we've definitely got to pay the safety car driver some money after this race if we bag this podium. But I can't really see a scenario unless we make a mistake like that where we go incredibly deep, which puts Vettel right up our gearbox. I mean, this part of the track, you know, we're usually pretty good. We're going to have to hang around the outside here because we know Vettel can't contend with the downforce. So you can see that damage on the right hand side of Sebastian Vettel. He's struggling massively, but through here we should feel comfortable with the inside line. We get a little bit sideways on the exit, a little bit of understeer. We're going to dive it down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. We almost made contact with the German driver. Leclerc wins the Grand Prix pretty comfortably. So you can see Vettel's going to move to the inside line now. Bottas might fancy a dive bomb up the inside of Sebastian Vettel if he's not careful. We're going to hold the inside line nice and easy, and we're going to essentially come home for a fantastic P2. Those guys are battling, but bun them off. We come home in P2 thanks to the boys behind us having damage and not being able to continue. We snag a podium in our second race of the season. Now we get driver of the day as well, which I think is deserved because we drove a phenomenal race from the restart onwards. We didn't make a mistake other than that one you saw, but we can glance over that. That's not important. But Matteo Binotto is celebrating. Charles Leclerc wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, and fireworks obviously in the background as well. But unreal stuff. I mean, it's gone from strength to strength for us, going from what was P4, I want to say P4, then to P2. You know, essentially the next time it's going to be a race win, either that or last place. But nonetheless, we can obviously be happy with that. Lando Norris finishing in the points, he's happy with that. Should be a lot higher up. And the Ferraris really shouldn't be here, essentially. I mean, effectively, if Ferrari was as nerfed as they would have been, we probably could have won this race, but we won't hold that against Co-Masters, as we're on the podium celebrating for the first time. We probably don't really know what to do with ourselves by the looks of it. Just obviously spraying Charles Leclerc just a little bit, but we're obviously celebrating with the champagne spraying all over the cars, which is a great result for us. P2, definitely not expected, but obviously come down to the pit stop. We're the highest one-stop runner, obviously, then you got Ocon, and then subsequently everyone else, but yeah, for sure. It's P3 in the championship as well, which is absolutely mega stuff, and P3 in the constructors. So our little Lotus team is absolutely doing bits in the grand scheme of things. So that's always good. As now we have to put up with the interviews. So to an extent, I mean, we started P11, so it wasn't too bad. But with these interviews, they are kind of jarring to an extent. I mean, I think it's been the exact same kind of format since 2016, I want to say. I think that's when we had the interviews. And since then, obviously, it's been relatively straightforward. Usually the same stuff. It's very rare that they throw in new questions. Obviously, this year, the difference being, you know, the acclaim comes in and whatnot. But I'll probably end up cutting out these interviews moving forward. They don't really affect us too much. And any acclaim that you do see, they obviously get forwarded on to the car for the end of the results screen anyway. But it wasn't the cleanest result. I hate when they ask this. It's so annoying. Like, it's usually just negative stuff and all that. But nonetheless, all the drivers obviously coming in to weigh themselves. Very odd. I wish you could do like kind of like a pen after the race. You know, you're in a media pen. That'd be a lot better than being interviewed in Parc Fermé. But nonetheless, obviously we get 90k, which is a phenomenal amount of money. We're up to 1.87 million, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. You're pretty poor. You can't really buy a lot for less than 2 million. But there is our car, as you can see. I'm still trying to figure out what sponsor we put on the car. Other than that, I think it might have been what's on the front wing end plate, which is the Total logos, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what we added to the car along with Nova. So once again, obviously just fitting out all of the activities we'll be doing before the next race, which is not too far away. In fact, it's about 2 weeks, and obviously we've got the driver perks as well, so I think we're going to maximize these as best as we can, just to obviously get the most out of it. I mean, obviously you can only do this in my team, really. You can't really do that in driver career mode. It's a little bit more difficult for sure, to get those perks. Obviously with the little amount of money you do end up getting, but nonetheless, that has been it for the Bahrain Grand Prix, guys. If you have enjoyed, please do slap a like on it and make sure to subscribe for more Formula 1 content coming out every other day or so. We'll be looking at doing another series as well soon, so keep tuned for that. But that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next F2 race. Until then, guys, see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.